What's going on, everybody? We are back, Mr. Mom Collectibles. It's Sunday night. It's 8:17, 2 minutes late. It's all right, but Mr. Mom Collectibles here, and I am joined by two faces that you guys might already know. We have the Hot Toys Nightmare, Sean. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
And we
Thank
have
you for having me.
Yeah, and we have the guy down below. You guys already know who he is. Connor, Hot Toys Hotline.
Damn, Sean gets like this fancy intro. He's like, yeah,
you're just like
this guy down below. But no, thank you, Ryan, for having me. Dude. It's great to be here.
Hey, listen, man. I like to start the streams with kind of an off banter convo, but let people trickle in. But yeah, Connor, I got my power back up and running, and as we talked about, I had kind of a scare at 8 o'clock this morning when I woke up. My power went out, and it flickered, went off for like 5 minutes, and then I had no power for like 4 or 5 hours. So I'm sitting there like just chilling with my generator running. And I'm like, I didn't know what happened. Like 11:30, just everything just boots back up. So man, eventful Sunday.
I just imagine you in your tighty whities, like you're just walking through the hallways.
Hey, listen, man, I filmed you a fantastic video, by the way. We won't play it now, but definitely we will. I filmed you a nice little.
I think it'll make it by Thursday. I think
Ghostbuster video. Well, maybe even Tuesday, actually.
Maybe even Tuesday,
yeah. We'll
see. You know what's funny is you mentioned the whitey tighties. I always picture him trying to be Lucifer Morningstar from the Netflix series.
Oh man, who do we got in the chat so far? We got Eddie Rodriguez saying like, and he actually dropped a $2 super sticker before the chat even started, before the whole thing even started. I don't know, like a half hour before, 7:07. So a little over an hour before he dropped a $2 super sticker. So Eddie Rodriguez, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. And I'm gonna have to film some videos of my own. I have to figure out what to do. People have told me I should have my daughter Gwen filming like thank you videos and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have to figure something out. I gotta figure that out. But Insane One, hello all as always. We got Peyton here. Hello, fellow collectors. He's in the house. We got Sean. What's up, everybody? There's people conversing there. OG Star Wars fan. Oh, yes, Sunday night. Let's go. Appreciate you being here. Eddie Rodriguez again. Who we got? Cigars and Bacon. Hit the like button. Give it up for the great panel of collectors. CMB, I know you just finished up with Geeking Out. I know if you're around, I mean, if you want to jump in, by all means, let me know if you got something to do. I know you had something going on this weekend, so I kind of let you be. You got your own, some stuff going on with you and your son. So I want you to have your space and appreciate it, buddy. But as always, thank you so much for the support. Ash Chase, what's up, everybody? I really appreciate it. What's up? Yeah, there you go. What's up, Broski? So as we're letting people trickle in, I figured we'd talk about, what was released. I know Sunday night, kind of doing a recap of the week. I don't want to focus so much, guys, on the recap, what's been announced, because we've already talked about it. So we'll just kind of breeze through the announcements and the releases and then kind of talk about the main topics. But to give everyone an idea, we'll talk about the announcements, Batman, the Armory, Grogu. Those are the things that came out. And Sideshow actually put up a 30-second video. I don't know if you guys saw it yet. I know, Sean, you said you saw it. It's pretty amazing for 30 seconds. Connor, did you get a chance to look at it?
I saw it. I scrolled past in my news feed, but I didn't actually click.
Yeah,
on it.
We'll put it up. It's like, it's like 30 seconds, so we'll put that up, and then we'll talk about the releases: Carnage, R2, Cyborg, and Cyborg is kind of that one that I kind of want to focus in on last because it segues into one of the more opinionated topics that I want to talk about. And then I want to touch base on if there's any Ghostbusters fans out there. Spirit Halloween actually released a new Proton Pack. So if you're someone like me who's a huge Ghostbusters fan, this is awesome news. I know Nate from Geeking Out bought one. I think he was kind of showing it off on the stream a little bit. But this is an interesting topic because I talked to both of you separately about this, about Trick or Treat Studios having the license to do stuff. And then, Spirit puts out another Proton Pack. And I can't help but thinking, like, I know the 1/6 scale figures, not saying either one's going to make them, but that Ghostbusters fever, I always have hope that we're going to get some 1/6 scale licensed figures from there. And then I want to talk about two final topics, more of opinionated, open discussion. And the first one is, and it has to talk about Cyborg, and it's about Hot Toys announcements versus releases. And I know on Tuesday when the Batman Armory came out, obviously people were shocked by it, surprised. But then I had a lot of people thinking like, well, where's Cyborg? Where's Wanda? Where's the TVA Lokis? Where's, Western Marty and Doc? Like, where are figures? Where are these releases that people have paid for that have been delayed multiple times? And that's kind of what I was talking to Sean about the other day. He gave me an analytical breakdown of how many times things were delayed and released. And so that's kind of like an open forum conversation I want to have in terms of what your thoughts are, guys, about like, should Hot Toys slow down on announcements? It's it's kind of hard right now because we're going into, Mando. We're going to go into Return of the Jedi, and honestly, people forget about the Flash. It's going to be coming up next month. Or should they be focused getting figures in hands of people, collectors that we've already paid for? Should they be trying to pump out these backlogs? So we'll talk about that. And then the final thing is I'll be putting a spoiler warning up if you haven't watched it already, but we're going to talk about Mandalorian season 3 recap and our thoughts, not necessarily from a Hot Toys standpoint, because I think that's been kind of talked about, and some topics about that. But what were our thoughts about Mandalorian season 3 and kind of where do we see it going in the future? Is this it for Din Djarin? I know there's a movie announced. Do we see another season? Kind of talk about it. And so, we'll try to keep it spoiler free, but it's honestly going to be open discussion. So if we got to spoil some stuff, I think it's Sunday. People have seen it. So what do you guys think? Start with this. And I want to start with channel updates real fast and let everyone know, like I said, Sunday, 8:15, doing this stream every week. But I also want to point something out while I have Connor on here and Sean, the three of us, is that Tuesday actually ends the giveaway for the Hot Toys Hotline 1,000 subscribers. So Connor, if you don't mind taking the stage for a moment or two and kind of just recap everybody while I go through some comments and just let us know what's going on with it. Sure. And give a little recap.
Yeah, guys. So like Ryan said, the giveaway ends on Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. EST. So for those of you that haven't watched the video yet or tuned in, I will let you know we have 5 prizes available. So a lot of chances to win. I know some people are like, you know what, all these people are entering, I'm not going to enter. This one, guys, trust me, you have 5 chances to win. The odds are pretty good, and there's a lot of great prizes. Sean's graciously giving away a hot toy as the grand prize. Ryan giving away $100 in Sideshow gift cards. I'm giving away gift cards. We got 1/6 kit giving a coupon code. So there's a lot of great stuff being given out. So if you haven't entered already, head on over to the channel, check out the video. You get to see us fool around and have fun at the end with a blooper reel, so something different we did on there. But yeah, guys, definitely if you haven't already, give yourself a chance to win. You don't have to do much to enter, and get in your entries before it ends, because once it hits 11:59 on Tuesday, once it turns over, the clock turns over, that's it. So get your entries in while you can.
Awesome. And I will try to, when we have a downtime, I'll drop the link in the live chat so people can jump on that and then go there, because I know we're giving a bunch of stuff away, so it's fantastic. As I said, can't do enough to support you, Connor. Done so much for me in terms of everything, so I really appreciate it. And Sean as well, donating as well as always. So you guys are fantastic gentlemen. Once again, I really appreciate you guys being here. Sluggin16, hey fellas, basically giving a shout out to everybody, fellow collectors. Let's see, Commander Green, hey, insane one, and I know he gave a shout out before. See who else we got in here right now. A little conversation going back and forth. What did Peyton 23 say? I made a mistake thinking Connor was giving away his Dark Side Anakin.
Yeah, how dare him? My #1 figure in my whole collection, Peyton. You should know better. How dare you?
That's so funny. So real quick, like I said, we'll go through a couple things. Like I said, the Batman Armory. This came out on Tuesday. It's got a price tag of $565. I think it's a great piece. I think everybody in here kind of has our thoughts kind of cemented about, what is, what we're, what we like about it and things like that. So here's my question to you guys. We'll talk about it for just a couple minutes. We'll jump on to something else, because this is a power pose, right? Figure basically. And someone brought this up in one of the Facebook groups today. And you guys, like I said, you guys can just have an open conversation about this. Do you foresee them doing more of these style power pose figures in the future as a way to obtain a kind of look that they just know they can't achieve with a 1/6 scale posable figure? And are you guys upset about that? And here's the example, by the way. Someone posted a picture of Bespin Luke when he's training with Yoda. Someone just threw it up there, and it has a very specific picture of Yoda on his back, like in the backpack, and he's like, standing there. And someone made a comment like that would be a great idea as like a power pose kind of figure, maybe do more with it, a diorama, things like that. So that's just an example that I'm using off the top of my head. But what are your guys' thoughts about this in terms of, do you see, is this being something that Hot Toys might explore more in the future? And are you guys okay with that?
I could see them doing it, especially, I don't see them making a Grievous without it being a power pose.
Mm-hmm.
That way everything's lit up. And then you can switch out the arms, keep the legs in the same position, switch out the arms, and either have both sides broken down to 4 separate arms, or just keep it 2 arms. But yeah, I could see that happening with that and some other lines as well.
And let me ask you a question, and Connor, you jump in and let me know your thoughts on it as well. And then I got one more follow up.
So yeah, I think this kind of opened the door for some future stuff, and I haven't even thought of that idea about the Bespin Luke. I think that's great. I mean, I could even see it to where maybe Hot Toys could do like a hybrid body. Maybe the upper torso is fixed, but you could pose the legs. You know what I mean? Like I could see even the possibility of that. Because like for example, we have Power Pose King Shark. That one you could pose the hands, you could pose the feet. So there are a lot of opportunities for this where they can kind of mix and match different features. Like I said, half posable, half not. And I think that's a very clever idea for the Luke. I think for now that ship has sailed for that particular figure, but it's a great idea, a great concept. And I think if this set does decently well, which I do think it will,
Yeah.
I think Hot Toys may dive into that pool later and give it another shot elsewhere. Because, we've seen them do Power Pose figures quite a few times, and this is just kind of an evolution to that Power Pose line, because this is definitely something new for Hot Toys, and I'm not angry about it at all personally. Do I think it needs some tweaks in terms of, and we talked about this on my stream, but how the fingers look and everything, and maybe the biceps are slightly too big, but I'm not mad about it at all. I think it's a really cool idea, and for a lot of us, we would keep it in that pose anyway, so that just saves us the heartache later of like having a split silicone skin down the line. So I think it's very clever, and I like it a lot personally.
Yeah, that's one of those things I was going to talk about, because I know we always talk about with Hot Toys. I feel like their mission statement, if you will, is that they're trying to achieve the most accurate representation of the figure as possible. And if that means that they have to sacrifice articulation for for the way it looks, I think that's always how it is. Now, the one thing I do want to pull up real fast is I want to pull up this video right here from Sideshow. So, as I said, for anybody who hasn't, Sideshow actually released. It's just a 30-second teaser, but like as Sean and I were saying backstage, for 30 seconds, it's pretty amazing, I gotta say. I'm not gonna play the music because it's just the Dark Knight theme behind it, because I don't want it to take away from anything. But actually, but this is basically just like a teaser video of the figure. It's 30 seconds. I'll play it back once or twice more. But man, the details that they get in this thing is just, it got me.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I'm really liking how that dew texture looks, like the
I do
water
too.
droplets.
Everyone
It looks
hated on that, man.
fantastic.
I like that. Like right there.
It
Oh
looks
man,
good,
I like
man. It's
I don't see why
clever.
anyone would hate it though.
that right
To
there.
each their own, but dude, that looks
No, I know.
fantastic. It literally looks like it just came out of the water, man.
I'm gonna play it back one more time, so just take a quick look, because I was hoping we got more out of it. But I just want to give a shout out. Who we got in here? We got Austin Nicholas, my man. How are you? A little smiley face. How you doing there, man? Payton. This was a surprise drop for me, but a good one. Yeah, I agree, man. I think it was a surprise for everybody. But I think the one thing to keep in mind about is, they said they were going back into the vault for the Dark Knight trilogy. And so I just think it's one of those where I think it goes back to, and I guess I didn't mean to put together kind of a consistent theme throughout the stream, but it goes back to the idea of Hot Toys and releases. Like, I guess we kind of thought that they would do, maybe a lot of Dark Knight stuff at once and then like see you later. But like to get this drop a few months after the Bane, and all that stuff, it's like you got to remember that I guess they're still surprising us. So sorry about that.
Some Pink
But
Floyd action.
still a great piece, man. It's still, I like it a lot. I'll be picking it up, and as I said, it's not day one for me, but I really do like it a lot. So, but let me pull up. Give me 1 second. We are going to go to Hot Toys here, and what we're going to do now is I want to talk about the other releases that we have. So we got Cyborg, but I actually want to jump to
The Cost Babies.
what's it called? Yeah, no, it's just we can't do that. The R2D2. So we'll do the R2D2. So this is one that was released, physically released. This is the Attack of the Clones version. Both you guys have this one too, right? Comment on order.
Pre-order. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on pre-order.
And what are your thoughts about this? Because for me, I'll give you mine. I told you that I wasn't getting this one because I'm holding out for Return of the Jedi. So obviously, I know you guys are getting this, and then if they do a Return of the Jedi version, you both are going to be grabbing that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
You know me, Ryan, and we got, of course, conveniently enough, we got Chris in the chat, so I'm sure he's got something to say about it. But
I know Chris's thoughts on
I'm
that.
just waiting for it. But yeah, so you know me, Ryan, I like to display by film. I've always had my collection that way, whether it was when I had the Detolfs or I have these garage shelves now.
Love that picture, by the way.
Yeah, the C3PO head is fantastic. I mean, there's no possible way I'm not displaying mine with the C3PO head. Me personally, I'd rather display it this way than have all of the different gadgets and stuff sticking out because this is more nostalgic to me, you know. So, yeah, I'm really excited for this one. This was one that was a certain pre-order for me the moment I saw it, and I think it looks great. I love the amount of stuff he comes with. I think the price is very fair considering what you get with them. And I mentioned this before, but I just love the fan service with like this C-3PO head and the rocket thrusters and everything. There's just a lot of cool stuff you could do with it.
Don't even talk about Sideshow, bro.
So yeah, okay, I'm glad, Chris. I wasn't going to go the Sideshow route. I was talking about you telling me how I double up on everything, but hey,
Chris is probably wearing a belt right now, yelling at the screen.
I know.
Don't
He's
you
probably
dare
got his belt. No,
say
it's slung over
Sideshow.
his shoulder. It's slung over his shoulder. That's where it is. But yeah,
That is so funny. OG Star Wars fan. This has so many accessories. You can use them for any display, really. So I'm so excited for this one. I don't disagree with that. You know, my whole take on it though is that, and I hope I'm not kicking myself for my thought process. It's just there's a lot of stuff in the books in terms of pre-orders. It's just like I only need like one R2D2 for right now. I know I say that, and later on down the road I'll probably be getting another one. But it's just you know, the Attack of Clones version just didn't do it for me. Same thing with C-3PO. But Sean, I mean, your thoughts on this? I mean, you'll be army building these for sure. You know.
Well, I'm only ordering 2, and no, 2 does not count as an army build. And I don't care what type of hat you wear with what sunglasses, Nate. But anyways,
multiple.
But anyways, and Nate knows I'm joking.
Multiple
But anyways,
hats now.
so this picture right here, I completely plan on. I ordered 2.
I love this photo.
This is one pose right here that I'm doing, and the other one is with the thrusters.
Like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, because it comes with that class
A little clear
plastic.
display.
Yeah, and having that put on there, and you know, with both of them,
Yeah.
that's my plan. Then I also ordered 2 C-3POs, so that way I have one with the droid droid head, and then one with C-3PO's head on it.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, I like this a lot. And like I said, the Attack of the Clones. I mean, and I got to here's my question. So I have one more and then we'll move on to something else. Does it concern you guys? I think the answer is no, because it's molds are reused. It's a pretty safe figure. But ever since the DeLorean situation, where an announcement in hand was about a year fully. I know it's a vehicle, so we're comparing a big vehicle to 1/6 scale figure. And same with R2, right? It's been how long R2 was announced. I mean, I don't have dates off the top of my head. Sean, I know you're pretty good with that stuff, but a calendar year or less, right? It was, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Do you
because
guys-
it was first announced on May 4th, 2022.
And May
So it
4th
was
is around
less
the
than a
corner.
year.
Does that concern you guys now? And I'm generally speaking, of course, like we're talking about, you know, the DeLorean, that's kind of like its own thing. Does it concern you with figures if they're put out, announced, and in hand within a calendar year? Do you guys have concerns about that maybe they're rushed and when you get the box open, you might have something, you know, either, you know, maybe it's not right. Does that give you guys any concerns or not really?
If it's a complicated one, or if it's an Iron Man, I would be concerned with. But anything else, no. Like with this, we've already had 2 R2s, so no.
Yeah, and I share the same sentiment with Sean. This isn't a new mold. I mean, obviously they've made some changes to it to be more accurate for the Attack of the Clones version, but they've done 2 other R2s before, so this is. I think there's a reason why this one's already ready to go, because it's just something they've done before. Wasn't hard for them to make. And I think it'll be okay. Of course, we always have our concerns about QC, and I've told you, Ryan, many times. I think Hot Toys QC lately has been not very good.
Agreed.
And that's not just with the DeLorean. I mean, I got my clone pilot the other day, and the mouth was poorly painted. I'm like, and
Really?
Yeah. So it's like, it's definitely showing. And of course, part of it is them having to really crank out this stuff in a difficult time. So,
which I think is in a
understandable,
segue.
but
I think
it's
that's in a segue
unacceptable.
into one of our main topic of conversations too about
Yeah.
their. But I didn't mean to cut you off there for a minute. Sorry
No,
about
no,
that.
but yeah, absolutely. I'll save the rest of what I have to say for them, because that is certainly a good segue into that.
But yeah, I didn't know about your clone situation about that with but it just makes me wonder final, and like I said, my final question, because I just brought it up, because of the R2, do you guys have a suspicion, just putting tinfoil hat on for a moment, for Return of the Jedi, would you be shocked if, because R2 is technically a reused mold with some minimal changes to to the Return of Jedi, would you be shocked if it wasn't maybe one of the next like 1 or 2 announcements from them, just because it might be an easy one, just to kind of, like you said, redo the mold, change some parts to make it more Return of the Jedi, accurate, and get that thing announced? Would you be shocked if that wasn't like one of the next, like, maybe call it three announcements? One of them is an R2. I would be.
No, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be shocked.
No, yeah. I mean,
I
what
wouldn't
mean
even
by
be
no is
shocked if it's one of the Toy Fair exclusives this year for Return of the Jedi R2D2. I wouldn't be shocked at that at all.
Yeah, just to get it out because it's an easy mold. Connor, what do you think about that?
I was going to say, I mean, if they're feeling really crazy, what if they announce 1 or 2 more Return of the Jedi figures before May the 4th? What if they squeeze that in? If they were going to do that, it would be this one, because like you said, it's very simple. We talked about how it's kind of them reusing molds and then kind of changing out parts here and there in terms of accuracy's sake. But yeah, I could see it coming out sooner than later. And when it does announce, I think it'll probably be the same situation as this one. Well, it'll come out within a year,
And like Austin's kind of hitting that, like I said, the unintentional theme is kind of laying throughout what I've put together. He says right here, look at how much Hot Toys has escalated in terms of releases. The scaling is massive. I mean, it's true. I mean, and a lot of people are thinking about, like I said, I'm kind of not living, 4th or 5th dimensionally here, but we got Mando season 3, nothing yet. So we're waiting for that. You got Return of the Jedi. I mean that in general, doesn't May the 4th. And then you got the Flash coming, which once again, that can be a whole nother topic of conversation, because that's going to sneak up on us. It's June 26th. I want to say it is, that movie, or it's June 20 something around that time. And they just updated a new trailer today. New trailer dropped for today, which got me even more hyped. And so, like I said, the Flash is going to be, it's going to be another DC IP. So yeah, I mean, they got a lot on their plate right now.
Or even Andor. Andor's
well, and do we write Andor season 1 off at this point? I mean, they're filming 2. They might even do maybe 2 with a little bit of 1, but do we write that off? I mean,
I'm not.
I'm not either.
No, I definitely. I
I've
hope
told you, Ryan. Like, my theory is maybe after these 40th Return of the Jedi announcements are made, that's when they're going to go back and be like, all right, here's the stuff you've been asking for, because it's a lot to build up to announcing. What, 8 figures? If we get, let's say we get 8, 9 minimum. We were talking about it on Tuesday stream last week. Let's say we get 8, 9 minimum. That's no easy feat to prepare, get all the photos taken, have the prototypes ready. That's a lot to do. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of stuff like Andor got backburnered in favor of the 40th Return of the Jedi. And then once that stuff's announced, they're like, cool, we could take a breather and go back and give people their Cassian Andor, their Luthen. You know what I mean? So I don't think, I think like the few months period after May the 4th will really tell us what's going to happen with the Andor stuff. I feel like if we don't see it in few months post Return of the Jedi announcements, we may not see it until the 2nd season, but I'm still holding out hope for those.
100%. And like I said, shout out here to Pop Culture. How are you doing, man? Costa, they said they will announce new R2 soon, especially since these are waitlisted. It's very possible. And like you said, Costa, I hope you're doing good, buddy. I actually think you're coming on next week. I think him and I were talking backstage a couple days ago, trying to work out our schedules, and I think he will be joining me next week for another topic, opinionated conversation I have. Cigars and Bacon, 26 watching, 13 likes. Let's pump those numbers up. Hey, man, I'm a rookie, small fish in big pond. I appreciate all the support, as always, from everybody holding it down. Still got the training wheels on, so, waiting for them to fall off. And well, here we got Collecting Madness, that N1. That N1 talk seemed to quiet down a bit. You are, can't say you're wrong, so to speak. Waiting for something to drop from Mando, so we'll see what it's all about. Real quick, this piece right here, we got one photo to go by. Just want to announce a new light. Looks like a 1-to-1 Grogu in the prim. Looks really nice. I have to say, guys, I didn't get the first 1-to-1 Grogu. I know, Connor, you have that behind you right there. I'm actually leaning towards I might actually get this if the price is good, if I'm not priced out on this. If it's USB powered and I hook up it to my display case and kind of it goes on with everything, I won't lie, I would probably be getting this. I like it a lot, actually. I have a spot for it in my display in my corner. Yeah, this is something I can see getting for me. What do you guys think about this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna make this one happen. I'm worried to see the price because it's gonna be pricey. You know, we talked about that the
You
other
think?
day about it's gonna be pricey. I would say bare minimum 650 on this one. That's bare minimum. It's gonna be a pricey piece, but I didn't get the first Hot Toys Grogu. Obviously, like you said, I have the Sideshow one here. I have my
Mhm.
statue version. I have my like as accurate as it can get version. Now I'm ready to grab the Hot Toys one, have a posable version, have it go in the pram. I didn't really care about having a posable version until I saw this, and I'm like, damn, this is gonna be like have a DC adapter or something. The lights are probably gonna be pretty fairly bright compared to like a normal Hot Toys figure. Yeah, this one's I'm gonna make it happen. It's too cute, man. It's gonna have the Beskar chest plate. It's gonna have the chainmail. It's gonna be cool, dude. Like, and yeah, after this last season, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to get this. So I'm excited.
I
To
can
check this out.
totally I can totally see, and people, if you watch my channel, I do a lot of YouTube shorts with my daughter. I can totally see me walking into my room one day and somehow my daughter's actually sitting inside this thing.
Or the
100%. She's got
stands like
Grogu.
cracked in half, and there's
Yeah,
Grogu
exactly.
just in
You know,
ruins.
yeah, exactly. So I know people give me a lot of crap for her playing with the Hot Toys and stuff. Yeah, this might be one where um I could see her grabbing the Grogu and running around with it and stuff like that. Like it's a doll or
Yeah.
something. What is a doll? But Sean, what are your thoughts? Do you have a Grogu by chance? You have a 1-to-1, right?
I actually have two of the Hot Toys version.
2 minimum.
Yep. So I have one upstairs in my living room, and then I have one down here on display.
Yeah. So you'd be getting
and
this one?
I am definitely. And it's
So
awesome having the 1-to-1 scale Grogu. And
Yeah.
like when people come to my home to see my collection and seeing a little girl or a little boy just freaking out and in love with Grogu,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
it's
imagine this.
it's like it's a completely different like way of like appreciating your collection when you see like happiness coming to some little kid like that.
Ban him.
It really
Yeah.
is.
No, it really is. And people, like when my daughter sees my collection, early on when I started getting pieces and stuff, now I think she's kind of like adapted to it. It was so cool seeing her expression. You know what I mean? When she would like look at figures and like the Hulk, something massive like that, her eyes literally like light up with it. And what people don't understand with, when I was younger, my daughter, it's cool because she's still learning to talk. And like when she was doing colors and stuff, she'd be like green, she'd call out, or like she sees Spider-Man, blue, red. Like I know it's like that's silly. I guess if you're a parent, it would be cool, but like it was actually helping her in a way kind of like develop, and her seeing stuff. So I had a really close connection with that. And like I really want to get this partly because it would look cool in my collection. But like I know my daughter would actually like it and enjoy it. And like seeing like Sean, you hit it right on the head. Her expression on that would just be so awesome. Now, would you guys be priced out at a certain point? Like I said, Connor, you kind of threw out a price there. Would there have to be a price on this thing that you'd be like, yeah, like how we do our 2.0s when we talk about like, hey, what's your max that you would really be willing to go on this thing? Do you guys have a price, or it's kind of like?
I do.
If they got stupid with 1,500, I would say no.
Yeah, like if it goes, I would say beyond like 900. I'll be honest with you. Beyond 900, I'm like, it's not worth it to me because I already have a 1-to-1 Grogu. This is just super cool, and I think Hot Toys will do their best to make it competitive in terms of pricing. And then this kind of another thing that makes this interesting is like it's funny they introduced this around the same timing of the speculation with the N1, right? This is kind of a big project. Yes, they've released this Grogu before, but the pram, I mean, that's a whole new project, And then, like we said before, it's going to have a stand to allow it to levitate, I'm sure.
Like a
if
clear
it doesn't,
stand or something like that.
That's going to be a big miss if it doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's going to be a pricey piece, but yeah, I would say it's going to be difficult to go for it if it's like beyond 900. I'd probably really think about it.
And something like 1-6 Junkie says right here would assume that the pram has a top cover. I mean, it's hard to see, but like right here, I mean, it can either be one of two things where this lid actually kind of folds up on its own, so it's one piece. I know we're looking at one photo, but like I almost see like multiple pieces right here that like the top cover, the dome could come over if it really wanted to seal up, or it'd be a completely separate attachment that you just pop off and swap on. So.
If you look, there's like a gap.
Yeah, right here. Right?
It looks like there might be like a hinge joint there, so it may actually like fold over and close.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, I mean, that'd be pretty cool, though. I mean, you have to have that. Cigar is saying, I can see this being 750, 825.
Yeah.
Not saying, but I could see it. 1-to-1 Grogu was 410. Yeah, very possible. But, it got me because I didn't think they would do one. And at this point, I think I kind of I have to get one. But anyway, moving on, we have two more things. I know there's definitely one collector out there in the community is very happy, maybe a few more, but we got Carnage, of course. Like I said, not much to be talked about with this one. We know it's a huge piece. It's also price wise, it's expensive. It does look cool. Like I said, my opinions kind of changed a little bit when we were watching that video on your channel, Connor, with the shoulder joints and guys kind of posing with it. He had to be turned off with it for the first like 80%, and then when it was kind of posed up in a way, I kind of grew on me. Yeah. But as my thoughts were, I'm kind of priced out on this. This is something where I'd have to get a absolute stupid deal on this for it to come home. I have Venom. I love Venom. I like it. It's the first one. I won't be getting the second one. It's not worth it for me. But do either one of you guys? I know Connor. I know you're not. I think you're in the same boat as me, where you're kind of more like you need a deal on this thing for. To come home,
I mean, right? I do want it, and I've said this, like it's a cool figure. It really is. But of course, it has its shortcomings with the way that it's just how it's built, But for me, it's very expensive. $445 is a lot of money. I believe that's the price tag. I do want it. I do want to get it in my collection. I just need to watch it and see if I can find a deal for it somewhere, which I think is certainly possible still. But we'll just have to wait and see,
Sean, refresh my memory. Is this on your list of things to get? Like, do you have this coming in or no? Do you have any interest whatsoever?
I can appreciate it and I like it. I know our friend Lane Kramer is excited for this.
Him and somebody else I know is excited for it.
Yes, somebody else. The who shall not be named. Yeah. And I mean, overall, you have to find the pose to hide the spots that don't look great on it. But other than that, once you find your pose and you're happy with it, I wouldn't recommend moving it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
and I would definitely have gotten this if there was a Woody Harrelson head sculpt.
Yeah, I really thought, and I know this one's been out for a minute, I really thought it did come with a sculpt. I'm not going to lie. I thought it did.
So that money.
The deluxe version comes with
does Venom come here? Does Venom come with Carnage sculpt?
No, they both include the Eddie Brock sculpt.
Yeah.
I have to say, though, the photos on this look awesome with the red. It does.
Oh, yeah. It pops, dude. Like, it really does. And obviously, we've seen in conversations, a lot of people are like, this is a glorified Marvel Legends figure. And I can understand that because of the visible joints. That's where people are going with it. But it does look cool. It's a cool figure. It's just, it's expensive for what it is.
It's just, I'm just too priced. I'm just too.
It's die-cast Iron Man price, dude. Like, it's a big figure, don't get me wrong, but it's pricey.
Yeah. See, and I think with the Carnage, though, usually I like everything in white to pop out all the colors and everything, which, I mean, obviously you can tell from behind me. But I think with Carnage, it would actually be better in a black display with a white light, spotlighting it from above would make it look better.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
Sorry, guys. Chris is right. The Venom does not include it. It doesn't. Because I remember people were saying, well, at least I could get the Carnage and then use this sculpt in my original Venom. He's right. Chris is right.
Yeah, these are nice.
I did not buy two, Chris. Get him out of here.
Collector Joey, what's going on, brother? How are you? I really appreciate you stopping in. Let's see who we got. Carnage once again. Yeah, there we go. Insane One. Y'all come here to chew bubblegum and leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. I'm all out of bubblegum. Insane One, I really appreciate it, brother, for the support as always. And the collecting mat is nope, Venom does not include it, unfortunately. Yeah, that's a real, honestly, for that price, I won't lie. If it was the same price and we got a Woody Harrelson head sculpt, I might have pre-ordered it. I might have done it. Just because I like the idea of them battling with the half sculpts open, like they've done in the movies. But the fact that I'm kind of bummed that it didn't, I didn't realize that, honestly. So
see, and I like Woody Harrelson as an actor. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I do too. I think it was great, but I think that would have been one of those unique sculpts if they would have pulled that off with the likeness. It would have been really cool to have displayed with this figure, 100%. So the last one I wanted to talk about, which will segue into kind of an open forum conversation, was this bad boy, which was Cyborg. Now I have this one on order from Sideshow. Let me see. Oh, it's not loading right here. I have this one on order from Sideshow. It's paid off. Waiting to get my email, for when it's shipped. Connor, do you have this paid off, ready to go, or you still have to pick this one up?
I haven't ordered it yet because I'm waiting to get my rewards like built up until he's announced. I have like a little over $100, so it's just timing. Once Sideshow starts sending out those emails, I'll be watching it, and then I'll drop my order. But yeah, he looks fantastic, dude. Like, and we talk about like some figures not being up to par with the prototype. This is not one of those figures. This figure looks fantastic. I think they totally delivered on this one. I think the likeness, the Victor Stone likeness here is fantastic. It looks great. I love the weathering detail on the armor. Overall, it looks great, dude. They really delivered on this one. And I think Hot Toys knew, like, if you're going to mess up a figure, this is certainly not one of them, because you'll really start a war in the Hot Toys comments, because this is one that's been long awaited, over 2 years, right? So they had to deliver on this one, and I think that's probably part of the reason it took so long. Is one, it's a complicated figure, but two, they're like, yeah, we need to make sure we get this right, because they know people are going to be furious, because at this point, right, people have invested a lot of money into the Justice League, so this was the final piece to the puzzle. So if they were to screw this up, like I said, it would have been an absolute riot. I'm glad they didn't. He looks great. And I think a lot of people, though it sucked to wait that long, it would be worth the wait, because we finally get to complete our Justice League and in grand fashion, right? Because this figure looks fantastic.
That looks nice in that photo right there. I like that a lot, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
With
it's
the black
nice.
suit Superman. He looks so good.
See, this is one of those I was talking after, like, during the week. It's the only gripe that I have. I don't even care that it's all plastic. It doesn't bother me at this point, because I just want the figure. I'm not upset about die casting like that. I do wish that they somehow made it USB, because this is coming from me. I have a bunch of Iron Man figures. I probably have like 6 or 7 of them, and I don't light any of them up. I don't use the button cell batteries. I don't use soap reactors. It's just because that's not worth it for me to get into that with all the wires. There's not a clean way to do it, in my opinion, right now. However, for this figure, like, I have to have this thing lit up. Like, there's so many lights on this thing that just looks so awesome that, like, I got to figure out, like, if I go the soap reactor route or someplace that's like a really clean, it has to be a clean look. I don't want to see any wires hanging out, things like that. But this is one of those figures that, after seeing it lit up and in the videos, I mean, they're all out there. I won't pull them up, that all of the, the unboxings and things. And when you see this thing lit up, it's like, I need it lit up somehow. I need it lit up. Like, I can't see this being in my collection with no lights on, just dull, because the lights bring it to life. Iron Man suits, I don't know, I can live without it, but for this one, I need to figure out a way to light this sucker up. But Sean, what are your thoughts on it? I mean, you got this one coming, right?
Yes, I pre-ordered it day one as soon as it came out with the exclusive version, and just waiting for it now. No word from Sideshow when it's shipping.
I haven't gotten it. I was hoping I would have got one of those emails where it was like 10 days inbound or something like that. Yeah, I just owe the shipping like $35, and then I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, I have no complaints. They did a great job with the head sculpt.
So the reason why I actually saved this figure for last, is that we're going to get into one more thing, and then I want to talk about it, but I'll kind of give you guys a hint. So when this figure, when the Hot Toys Armory came out on Tuesday, I mean, like I said, everyone was shocked about it, but then I saw people in various groups and chats and stuff like that. And even when we were talking about the DeLorean last weekend, people were like, well, where's Cyborg? Where's this? Where's that? And then we got the Armory on Tuesday, and then people were saying, all right, that's great, but where are the figures that I've been paying for? Where's, Wanda from WandaVision? Where's Cyborg and stuff? And then, they dropped this one on us. So that's kind of segueing in. I want to talk about one more thing for people out there that, it's not 6 scale related, because I want to try to cover some other stuff as well. But this is going to go into our conversation about Hot Toys releases and like their backlog and stuff. I know that was the kind of the theme. I know, Connor, you are going to have some thoughts. Austin kind of made a comment about it, but yeah, this is one of those in the backlog. If I'm not mistaken, Sean, correct me, this was the longest waited release, correct? Physical release up until it came out. I think this was the longest one. Or it's up there, definitely top 3 at least.
No, Loki was the longest one.
Which Endgame or?
Endgame.
Yeah, Endgame Loki.
And then Wonder Woman
Endgame
84
Loki.
is another one, right?
And then Wonder Woman 84. But now those 2 are out of the way. Now it's this one, or was this one. Now that this one's out of the way.
Yeah, this was announced July 4th, 2021, and then released on April 20th.
Man.
So it was almost 2 years.
How many delays did it have?
Had 3.
Wow. Now, I think we can agree, though, and I made this comment on your stream, that this is like almost dead on from the prototype. Like, I think it's spot on. So for that sake, I'm all right with the delays. Unlike the DeLorean, where, like I say this, if they would have given us, hey, listen, give us 6 months, you'll get a better product, I think anyone else would have signed up for that. But the fact that we waited this long for this figure, but we got something that was spot on from what, you know, was talked about, I think it's absolutely fantastic. So, but I do want to move on and talk about one more thing that's not 6 scale related. So, you know, and Payton says here, and I thought about that, where you could probably hack it like Denobi does with his Iron Mans. That is possible. I will have to maybe pick his brain about what he does, because as I said, depending on, you know, I don't want to go to too much of an extreme. And I know he's done videos and stuff like that on there. So I might pick his brain about that if it's something that's not too invasive, just because I don't want to do too much damage to the figure. I'm willing to do a little minor alteration to it, but as I said, Payton, I'll pick his brain about it. But one other thing I want to talk about before we get to kind of our two main topics is, if you're a Ghostbusters fan, and you know I'm a Ghostbusters fan, is Spirit Halloween. And I'm going to play this video from Ghostbusters News. And if you guys check this out, anything Ghostbusters related, Ghostbusters News is your source for anything Ghostbusters. Up-to-date news about the new movies, everything like that. So Spirit Halloween, actually, they do proton packs and props like that at a very reasonable price. Usually the packs are like around $100. The traps are like $50. The radios are like $25, whatever it may be. And, you know, for anyone who is a fan of Ghostbusters, they will use, that's one avenue. And everyone knows I put out a video on like building a proton pack, and that's an ongoing series. And the Spirit Halloween pack was always something that was a very affordable option for people. You know, it was like around $100. You can just put it on, and, you know, you can cosplay with it. And there's even people out there that can, you know, make modifications to it. Well, this year's Spirit Halloween actually released another version of it, which I was quite surprised about. It came out literally midweek last week. And what's amazing about this one is that it's a 1-to-1 replica. It's a 1-to-1 scale replica. It's a life-size replica. It's extremely lightweight. As you can see it here, he's showing it completely open, but it's a 1-to-1 replica of a proton pack with a bunch of new upgrades compared to last year's model. And this is always just an affordable option. It was $249. And as CMB called out, it is sold out now. I mean, there's other places you can find it. Hopefully they do another run. I know when they did the Spirit packs in the previous times, they would do multiple runs. Like they sell out, they do another run, they do another run, things like that. So got to be careful with them ghosts nowadays. Saw a crazy video. Yeah, you might see more of that on Tuesday and Thursday. I don't know. I don't want to give too much away, but but this is just something for anyone out there. You know, Ghostbusters. If you're a fan, I know a lot of people want a proton pack. I know Nate from Geeking Out actually bought one. He was pretty enthused about it. But I want to kind of scrub through the video. Like I said, it's a full in-depth review of this. And right here, you guys can get an idea. Now the original pack was $100. This one was $249, but you could see the big difference. In terms of the scale, even kind of the weathering, the details. Even if you're not a huge Ghostbusters fanatic and don't know the ins and outs, there's a huge difference here, and it's extremely lightweight. I had the one from last year. I gave it to my nephew actually, but it's really great. $249. I know when Nate called me, he was like, "Do you think it's worth it?" I said, "Grab it. It's worth it. Just grab it." So he got it. I know he's really happy with it. For any of those who did get one, I congratulate you. But this is something that was interesting because I know Trick or Treat Studios obtained a license. I don't know what license, but I know it was about to do props and things like this. So that's pretty neat. I know Sean and you and I were talking backstage that it very well could be like a shared license, because Spirit did still put out a pack. You know, at least hoped out there that I hope one day someone picks up, you know, the 1/6 scale license. I know we have Present Toys doing the third party, but I really hope that one day, every time I see something new Ghostbusters come out, it just gives me hope. You know, we got the new movie coming out, and I'm not sure if you guys saw, they released some behind the still photos that they did clean up the Ecto one, so it is cleaned up. It is still the Ecto one from Afterlife, the gunner seat and all that stuff, but it is cleaned up. It almost looks brand new. So that leaves hope to believe that maybe we'll get something one day. I don't believe Blitzway has the license anymore. I know there's a lot of up in the air whether they do or not. Most of the people I hear from say they don't have the license, unfortunately. But I'm hoping that, you know, we get some 1/6 scale Ghostbusters someday. And if you look at this collection back here, I'm a Ghostbusters fan, but I can't help but look in the back of those DTOFs. And that's a lot of
awesome, dude. I was thinking
the green lights are awesome back there. And yeah, if you guys watch a collection view tour of his like whole thing, It's pretty crazy how much Ghostbuster stuff he has. It's pretty insane. Nevertheless. So,
Hey, I gotta actually, real quick, I gotta make a correction here.
yeah.
So I was off on the Wonder Woman 84. That was
Mhm.
announced July 22nd, 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and then released January 16th, 2023.
There you go. I appreciate that.
So that was longer than Cyborg.
Wow. I had a feeling she was,
but it was only
far
delayed
out.
twice. It was only delayed twice.
Yeah. But Cyborg,
So it
you
was
said
actually
delayed.
scheduled pretty far out.
Interesting. Interesting. So, and that still is an amazing figure. If you don't have the Wonder Woman 84, I don't know what you're missing. Pick that one up because that's an amazing figure for that price. So, jumping into our two topics. So that was kind of the news, went over some stuff. So I want to get into one of two final open form conversations. And I hope people in the live chat, jump in, give me your thoughts about this, as well as you two guys. So we talked about Hot Toys figures, the Cyborg delays, them announcing new figures. This is a topic that comes up every so often, and this is something that I wanted to do a video about, but I thought have a live chat and get some opinions. So announcements versus releases, right? Do you guys think, and I'll ask this question, then we'll just kind of open up the box and kind of delve into it. Hot Toys has a lot on their plates. They're releasing, as you can see on Tuesday, they're still doing some Dark Knight. We didn't get anything from Andor. Mando season 3, we haven't gotten anything yet from. Return of the Jedi. I mean, we're hoping, but we don't know what we're going to get from it. We got 2 so far. Hoping to get more. And then we have the Flash movie coming out from DC. Those are just initial IPs in the next few months. Didn't get John Wick yet announced. Do you guys think that Hot Toys, I guess, has too much on their plate, trying to keep everybody happy? And do you think that they should dial back on the announcements? I know it's hard to say that now, given what we're walking into with Star Wars, but overall, do you think they should dumb down the announcements and try focusing in on getting more figures in people's hands, collectors' hands, the ones that we paid for? And I brought Wanda up as an example because Wanda is definitely up there, Sean, with the ones that you said have been delayed. I'm not saying necessarily in chronological order, but I know this one's up there where people have saying, "Hey, where's Wanda from WandaVision?" So I kind of left that open, and you guys kind of start shooting me some thoughts while I'll pull up some photos. What do you guys think about it? Either one of you guys can talk.
So since 2018, all right, to present day right now, there have been 98 more announcements than there have been releases issued. Now, the difference between an announcement is Hot Toys may have their hands tied where the company, so say Star Wars license, says, no, you will announce this within this time period if you want to do it. And then Howard has no choice, but okay, we developed a prototype. We've already started making on this. Now we have to announce it. Versus where releasing it is getting it to the customers. And that can be anything from supply issues to factory availability to complete it, even to shipping crises or problems getting it out, getting the finished product out or getting the supplies in. I mean, there's a lot to consider on it. But for the last year and this year, they've done a lot better. So I think they're finding ways to improve, and I'm willing to accept that from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Connor, what do you think? Your thoughts on this?
So realistically, guys, like as much as we would love to say Hot Toys, just slow down and put out the stuff, it's not going to happen, right? This is the beast that is Hot Toys, and part of what's to blame is us as collectors, right? Constantly demanding, like, oh, this new movie came out. Are you going to do figures from it? Where are the figures? I mean, you see with John Wick, Hot Toys took down that photo and people lost their minds because we all want those John Wick figures, but Hot Toys has adapted to the fans' demand to see figures from. I mean, we got Avatar figures, dude, and it's like that wasn't the first thing on Hot Toys' plate, but they saw an opportunity to get the license, and they know there's fans out there that want this stuff. So unfortunately, there's no slowing down for Hot Toys. That's the beast that they are. They're the company that has been able to take on the volume, and Sean and I talked about this many times. Hot Toys impressed me going into 2023 with just the sheer amount of stuff that they put out. I know I talked about the QC issues, and obviously that's kind of the nature of the beast when you're putting out so many figures, and Austin briefly talked about it earlier. But generally speaking, Hot Toys has put out some really, really good stuff in the past year. They really have. Say what you want about Carnage, if it's for you or not, looks just like the prototype. Say what you want about Cyborg, looks just like the prototype. So it is impressive that Hot Toys, regardless of the amount of volume they're taking on, they are putting out stuff in a pretty timely manner. It's a shame, though, because some figures like Wanda and Wonder Woman 84, they kind of get put on the side. Endgame Loki. Obviously, there's things to that, right? As frustrating as it is, it could be licensing issues. It could be them trying to work out an issue with one of the features of the figure. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that we don't know about. But generally speaking, I don't think we'll ever see a Hot Toys slowing down at any point. As much as we would like to see them slow down and catch up on some stuff, I think they're just going to keep improving to where they can announce stuff and release stuff. I mean, this past week, look what happened, guys. We got a lot of stuff. We got Carnage released. We got Cyborg released. We got Art 2 released. And then we got an announcement for a pretty substantial set, right? So I think what we'll see is just Hot Toys doing their best to improve in that regard, trying to be more timely with the releases. It was great to see R2 within a year. Great to see the other Attack of the Clones stuff because it is a similar mold to stuff they put out in the past. Great to see them putting that stuff out quicker than usual. So I think that's what they're going to do. And then, like we always talk about, they'll do 2.0s or reissues sometimes of Iron Man and stuff. Everybody complains about it, but that's how they fund doing these fun projects like Avatar and stuff like that with the different R&D and John Wick. So yeah, that's my thought on it. Again, as a collector, you would love to see them just put out the stuff they'd be waiting for. That's the roughest thing, right, Ryan, is the wait. It sucks. It really does. But if you buy a lot of figures like we do, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask you guys that. So if you buy figures, like, I guess I'm trying to think of how to describe it. Do delays bother you as much as like other people? Maybe like I can understand both sides of it. Like if a figure's delayed, I see both sides of the argument where, well, I spent $250 initially on this figure. It's paid off. Okay, I waited the year or the expected time frame. I want my figure. What's going on? But then I see some people are like, well, I don't care. Like, I know Nate and I have had this conversation. I think Connor, you and I don't care about delays because that allows me time to pay off something else. You know what I mean? If things are delayed, like Western Marty is a very good example. So that one I know is delayed because I have Doc paid off. Western Marty, I got a delay notice that was pushed back a few months. So what happened was I still owe, I think, 2 payments left on him. Those payments actually got pushed back like a month or two, where like I don't have to continue making payments on him until next month when I should have this month. So it's like, oh, okay, that money that I would have made on that one, I paid something else off. You know what I mean? So sometimes delays don't. You have a lot of stuff stacked up, but does that bother you guys if you have something paid off and let's say you played the patient game, you waited your time like allocated, and delay after delay, something gets delayed 3 or 4 times. Does that end up kind of pissing you guys off a little bit? I would say
it depends on the character. Sometimes I'm okay with it. Sometimes I'm just like, what the hell?
That's exactly what I was gonna say, because like Sean, it's like, if it's something you really want and it's like you don't have anything like it in your collection, that's different. You're like, crap, But if it's like a duplicate character that I'm picking up, just a different version, it's like I'm not fiending for my Thor from Love and Thunder. You know what I mean? I already have a couple Thors in my collection. So it does depend on the figure.
Like, for example, Captain Rex. Why was he delayed? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a simple figure, It's like, why'd they delay that?
And does it kind of... obviously we don't know because we'll get those emails in batches, or we'll see people saying like, oh, this is delayed. Does it ever kind of like that? I'm very interested to see how the next, I want to see like 2 months play out, because like I said, you got Mando, you got, Return of the Jedi, you got potentially the Flash. Does it concern you guys that like, all right, we're waiting for the next wave of delays? Like, oh, here we go. Like, oh, I got this one. I think I have like 2 or 3 paid off right now. I'm trying to remember who. But like, does it kind of bother you guys when you kind of foresee like another IP wave that like, all right, probably going to get another wave of delayed emails. You know, does that kind of bother you guys a little bit when you see that, like what's on the horizon, or you kind of just kind of take it as it comes?
No, because Sideshow's posted the 6 months now for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you, so for example, the stuff that's scheduled April through September right now, you know, I'm not too concerned about it because, you know, I pre-ordered it with the expectation that it's coming sometime between April 1 and September 30th.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it comes out September 29th, you know, and you'll have people saying, oh, this thing's been delayed forever. No, it hasn't been. It's within the time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I wouldn't be mad at that. You know, but like with Catwoman, for example, that thing was pushed out to November,
January.
Through, yeah. And I'm just
how long has she been delayed for?
Why?
Yeah.
This is the first time she's been delayed.
The first one, right?
Yeah, she got pushed back to as late as 2024, January.
What else? As you guys saw when we were talking, I was pulling up other figures like Finnick,
Yeah,
Athena, President Loki. I was trying to pull up ones I knew that were like, you know, Sylvie.
Yeah. But one thing I do want to point on real quick, Ryan, is this year from January 1st, 2023 to present day, there's been 25 announcements and 23 releases. Mm-hmm. That's a huge, significant, that's like really close. And that's something everyone should be paying attention to.
I mean, I just off the top of my head, you know, off the top of your head, you don't have to delve into the numbers, but it seems like you have them. What were they last year in terms of announcements to releases?
So if we look January through April,
how bad or good were they?
So January through April 2022, there was 10, 18. There were 23 announcements, 12 releases in 2022 from January 1st to April.
Yeah.
So if we look at 2021, there was only 11 releases and 21 announcements. Mm-hmm. So this year, you know, it's very close. And we still have a few days left in April, so there could be more announcements. There could be more releases.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just an interesting topic. You know, it's just something interesting to have a discussion about because, like I said, if you whatever collector you talk to, I know people get frustrated and sometimes I think that we as collectors we're our own worst enemy because Hot Toys. This is a conversation I had with somebody. Is that Hot Toys basically is forcing us to have patience? You know, when I started collecting Hot Toys, I had no idea that these things took 1.5 years. I had no idea. I thought you just ordered it and you got it. That's just what it was. And so Hot Toys is kind of forcing us to be patient by saying, hey, we're putting up this figure and like the Armory, you're going to get it in 1 year on average, if not more, depending on that. And it's just kind of, you know, we're our own worst enemy, as I say, because, you know, after that time we get a little more impatient with stuff. But then, as I said, how much of it then is the collector versus it is Hot Toys? Because then, like you said, there's figures that get delayed 3, 4, 5 times. Like why? Like why was Catwoman delayed? Like what's going on with that? Because it's, you know, things like that. So it's an interesting conversation. And I don't think it's one that is ever going to end because every time we get a surprise announcement like a Batman Armory, it will always bring up like, all right, that's awesome. But like, like I said, where's this one that I paid off? Where's that one? So that was just something that I wanted to pick your brain about, you know, both of you guys and kind of where your thoughts were. Like I said, I don't think there's going to be a resolution to it because that's just how it is. People have thoughts about everything and, you know, it is what it is. So that being said, you know, we're hitting that hour mark. So we'll jump into, I'm going to put the banner up here. We'll just leave it up here. We'll leave the ticker up here. Leave spoiler warning. I'm not guaranteeing it's going to be spoilers because we'll try to keep it a little bit friendly, but I am going to pull up the IMDb page and you'll kind of see what that says it all. And I wanted to kind of spend the last, I don't know, a couple minutes, 10, 15, 20 minutes, wherever the conversation goes, and kind of talk about Mando Season 3. And for those who you haven't seen it, it's Sunday, so I'm kind of making an assumption that from Wednesday to Sunday, and the way the internet is, the majority of people have seen it by now or, you know, got a taste of what's going on. So I figure let's just have an open discussion. Kind of get your guys' thoughts about it. I think we've kind of had like sidebar chats here and there, but to have like an open live stream discussion about it, I don't think we have yet. And like I said, if you guys don't mind talking about it, what are your thoughts really overall? I mean, I'll flip through the photos. This is off IMDb's page, so they're not, it's nothing hidden here. They're just screenshots from what's been going on, with the show. So I'll just kind of flip through them and have a conversation. But, open forum kind of thing. Like, what are your guys' thoughts about it? How it ended? Would you guys think it concluded successfully? Were you a little disappointed? Kind of overall.
So, for me, it's funny because I've had this conversation with a lot of my friends now, and there's a portion of my friends that were like, their writing was terrible. A lot of people were saying they thought Mando wasn't really himself, like he wasn't as like OP as he normally is. He needed a little more help this season. Me personally, the episode that was like very cameo heavy, that's what kind of lowered my score, right? And people talk about like it's this character, it's this character. For me, it was just that was kind of a mostly a wasted episode. And when you only have 8 episodes, I expect 8 episodes of content that is driven by the story, character development. You know what I mean? So that episode for me was kind of a waste and very shocking considering there was only 8 episodes. I believe that was episode 6 with all the cameos.
6.
Yeah. So apart from that episode, though, I thought it was good. I really did. I really did enjoy it. I liked the character development a lot for specifically Bo-Katan. If you're a fan of Rebels and the Clone Wars, she's a very beloved character. And I do think they did her a service in this season. And I think, especially for a lot of people who aren't a fan of the cartoons and they haven't even watched them, a lot of people were puzzled by that, right? Like just your casual viewer who just watches Mando. And some people got into Star Wars with Mando, right? So for your casual viewer, you're like, where is the Mandalorian? Why are they talking about this Bo-Katan? You know what I mean? So I do understand that. But again, if you're a fan of the Clone Wars and Rebels, like I was fine with that. And it's like, how many seasons can they spend solely focused on the Mandalorian, right? And we're going to try to keep this spoiler free, of course, but once you see the final episode, you're like, okay, whatever they do next, whether it's they continue the story in the movie or the show somehow comes out before the movie, you're like, they're going to get back to Mando's roots and you're going to see more of Mando that you wanted to see. I think my only complaint, I should say my biggest complaint about the finale is it did not tie into the Ahsoka show, which is what I was hoping for. I was hoping to see some sort of glimpse of something from Ahsoka at the very end, just to kind of tie us into that being like the next piece of content. And it's funny, Ryan, I think I told you, Hayden said 8.5 overall for the season. That was my score as well. Again, what really lowered my score was that episode 6 being mostly a waste, right? It was just mostly filler and then a little bit of lore building at the end. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think overall, I really did enjoy, like, especially Heavy Mando. I think they really did that character a service this season. It's not a spoiler at this point, so I'm going to say it. Obviously, Paz Vizsla did die, but I think it was great, right? I think that he went out like he should have gone out. The character was obviously a jerk to Mando, so a lot of people really didn't like him because of that. They're like, this dude's a dick, right? He's really a jerk to my favorite character. I don't like this guy, but I think they gave him a warrior's death fitting for a Mandalorian, and I thought it was awesome, dude. But yeah, my overall thoughts, I enjoyed it, and obviously people have their opinions on it, but at the end of the day, you have to find your enjoyment. Obviously, with current Star Wars, you have to look past certain things. If you're really a diehard fan and you want to try to find some enjoyment in it, you have to look past certain things because nothing's perfect under Disney with Star Wars. But yeah, I enjoyed it, Ryan. I thought it was a good watch. Not perfect, but I think it was a great season overall.
Sean, what do you think? What do you think? Your thoughts?
All right. For the season,
I have more questions. We'll open up, but I'll hear what you got to say.
Right. So for the season, I thought it was great. Brendan Wayne was the Mandalorian, and I can't remember the other guy, but Pedro Pascal never wore the suit.
Yeah.
So I want to be clear; he's only the voice, and I think Brendan Wayne and Katie Sackhoff did an exceptional job as a pair of actors put together for season 3. They did great and everything, working together, the pairing, and then the acting together was great. Episode 6, what the, at that point, because I wanted Mando to keep the Darksaber, and I wanted him to end up being like the ruler of Mandalore. But outside of that, Bo-Katan did a good job in episode 7 and 8 with the Darksaber. I was kind of like, come on, seriously, like he's just giving it up, and but after that point, the whole theory on who was a spy here and there and everything else, and I'm glad it wasn't the armor. I'm glad it wasn't Axe Woves.
Yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't Costco Reeves or any of the people from the I guess what would we call it, like a skiff barge or something like that that
Basically,
the Mandos were on.
Basically, the people everyone speculated was going to be
a
spy.
Yeah.
And it's like, yep, everyone was wrong. But the new Imperial troopers, I don't even know what to call them, Imperial Beskar troopers, I want multiple versions of those made. However, the show ending, I'm a little different than Connor here, how we wanted some type of Ahsoka. I'm glad it ended the way it did, because to me it opened it up where he's either going to be in another series. Everybody remember that series that Cara Dune was supposed to be the star in? Gina Carano, Rangers of the Republic.
Well, weren't they dropping a lot of that into the show?
I have a feeling that's what he's going to do now is, the Mandalorian. I think that's still going to go on, and then he's going to be doing that with whoever ends up being the star of Rangers of the Republic, because that would be great if it's Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah.
Ends up being for the Republic and being like the Ranger, and Mando's going helping him. Because this, like right here, kind of like, oh, I got a moment's peace. And then whatever next series happens, either Mando season 4 or Rangers of the Republic season 1, Grogu's going to be there, and like Mando only gets like 10 minutes of rest, and somebody comes up needing his help.
Yeah, such is life for his character, right?
Are you?
Yeah.
I was just thinking, because a lot, like my thoughts about it were, I think that we kind of discussed it, but like I was a little. Some of the only issues I had with the show, I appreciated the story, and I was. And this is my comments. I definitely told you guys this either together. Like I said, we talk all the time. I'm trying to remember. I do appreciate what the writers did by not including pretty much anything, because in my opinion, you can never top season 2 in terms of like that finale, that entrance. I mean, you had Luke Skywalker come and save them. Like if it was Ahsoka and like that, there was no way. So I almost felt like that when they did this episode or this season, it's almost like they said, you know what, we know we can't top what we did, so we're going to stick true to what we want, the story that we want to tell, and this is what it is, whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I felt. Now, I do feel that time definitely hurt this season, meaning almost a 2-year span without Mando having his own show. I do think that hurt the show, because everyone wanted Mando. You got him in Book of Boba Fett. He took over multiple episodes basically, where it was like, okay, where's Boba Fett?
Right. Everybody says the best part of Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, really, arguably him, and even the scenes with Luke were like the best scenes in the show, which weren't even their show. So it's like, I just wonder, if this was like put into a regular schedule where it was a year and a half before, or even a year, would we have been this upset about how, not us upset, but the community? Because obviously I would say the community overall has been more upset than those who are happy with it. I think it's obvious that the more, and I don't even mean that in a bad way. I mean, you're allowed not to like stuff, but I think there's more people overwhelmingly who were not satisfied with the season versus those who were. I'll put it like that. If the season was a year prior, would that balance be the same? Or probably, I mean, it's more of a rhetorical question, but I think that honestly time did hurt the show, because we saw how much of a badass he was in Boba Fett. We're like, oh man, we can't wait to get a show back. It's going to be this, and this. Even if we knew the story being told, I think a lot of people were surprised. Now, that being said, I think that Bo-Katan and even Heavy Mando had absolutely fantastic character arcs.
Yeah.
I do think they did.
Yeah.
I mean, from how even she was. I mean, and as you said, Connor, I mean, Heavy Mando was kind of a dick in season 2. He was always that person where who wants to raise their hand to object, he would be the first one.
Right. I object. Every time
Exactly.
Mando
He's the
said
first
something, you're like,
person
come on,
always
bro.
like, oh, it's this guy again. Oh, he's
Yeah.
that guy. Even my wife goes, she's like, oh, it's that guy again. Like he was always that guy. You know what I mean? He'd be the first one out of the cave blocking you, don't come in. He'd be the first one there. So he's always that guy. But then it's like, obviously, he went out of Warrior's death, and we all shed a tear for him in a way. And you can't do that without fantastic writing. And I think they did a great job with him. Sean, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I didn't mean to speak up. I think his best comment was, well, we could just kill him and stay right here.
Yeah.
Like, and then Mando does his line. He's like, or we can kill him and just stay right here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you go.
No, I was gonna say, like, yeah, and Insane One's comment earlier about like Mando not getting a proper arc. They very much focused on Bo-Katan this season, and realistically, if you're a fan of the character, like I said, a lot of it is like, if you're a fan of Rebels and Clone Wars, I think you're more like lenient to that. But I totally understand if you're a casual viewer of Star Wars, you're like, this is BS. Like, I fell in love with this show because of The Mandalorian. But with Disney Star Wars, they've made it clear, right, that they're intertwining stories. We mentioned Book of Boba Fett with Mando. I mean, one of the best episodes in a very lackluster show was the episode with The Mandalorian, So I'm not surprised that they went this route. Obviously, we have no intentions from Disney, as far as we know, of them doing any solo Bo-Katan projects, at least that have been announced or anything like that. So it makes a lot of sense to me that they're intertwining her story heavily into this show. I mean, yes, it's called The Mandalorian, but Bo-Katan is the Mandalorian that a lot of us know, again, from the cartoons. So I agree with you, Ryan. I think they did a great job on Bo-Katan's arc specifically.
Hey, listen, man. I will say, man, Connor and Sean, you agree. When her character arc started developing, all I'm going to say is, whether it was ironic because Sideshow put a certain figure on coupon, and a little bit of discount like I did, and I got one. But all I know is there was a lot of Bo-Katan Hot Toys figures bought over the last few weeks or even a few months. I don't know if you guys noticed, there's been kind of a trend with people's photography and purchases of saying, hey, look who came in. And it was Bo-Katan. It wasn't Chrome Mando. It was definitely Bo-Katan. And obviously, I know some of it is because Sideshow put her on discount, and you could use a coupon code, $20 off or whatever it may be, like I did. But obviously, they did something right, because there was a lot of Bo-Katan figures been selling over the last few months from season 2 for season 3. Regardless, with her change of appearance, people still bought the figure. So, what is that going to show you about her character arc a little bit?
Yeah. I think that goes back to what I was saying about like the casual viewers of Star Wars, right? A lot of people probably weren't sold on the character yet. And once they saw her in this season, they're like, oh, she's a badass. She's a cool character. She's got a lot more depth to her than I thought, because we really didn't see that depth yet from her, right? We just saw her, hey, what kind of tribe are you in that you guys are still wearing helmets? Help me out here and there. You know what I mean? That's the type of character we saw from Bo-Katan prior to this season. So again, the casual viewers of Star Wars who don't know much about the character, they really got a taste of who she is in this season. And I think you're right, Ryan. I think that tipped the scales for a lot of people. They're like, all right, I'm buying this figure now, especially on a discount. I'm buying it. I can't wait,
100%, because a lot of people expect there to be a new version of her, but I'm perfectly fine picking up another one. And then my only other comment about the show, I have two more thoughts, and you guys can, like I said, chime in. One is, if you talk about like ranking the season, like, oh, this was the best season, oh, this is the worst season, I compare Mandalorian to kind of John Wick. What I mean by that is, there's 4 John Wick movies out, and if you told me which one was my favorite, I'd have to think about it, because all 4 movies are completely different. They're not like, yes, you could rank them like 2, 3, 4, 1, whatever it is, or whatever ones. They're all great personally, but what I mean is, they made season 1, the first movie, kind of like Mando. You made this thing, you didn't know what it was going to be, but you put it out there and let people react to it. And the reaction was off the charts. It arguably, some people say, it saved Star Wars, for many people. It brought in new fans, and it gave existing fans hope that there's great creative backing to something. Like, they came up with something new, and they're excited. It got them rejuvenated again, which is great. And that was kind of what John Wick did. His movie came out, no one knew what it was. A lot of people watched it on demand or whatever it was, and was like, holy crap, this is awesome. And then what do they do? Well, we want another one. They want two. Then they started opening up the story of, the high table, all this stuff. So like John Wick, all four movies, even though the last three kind of are twined together, I don't know if you guys feel it. I kind of feel like they're all separate movies where it's hard to really compare. Like part 4 is better than 2, 3 is better than 1. I think they're all great. I think the same thing with Mandalorian. I don't think this is a bad season. Now, if you put a gun to my head, I'm going to tell you that probably I love season maybe 2 the most, or maybe 1. And then, like, this is my least favorite of all 3, but I'm not criticizing in the sense of it's the worst. It's just that it's a different season. They definitely opened up more world building, storytelling. It's just different, but it's definitely the weakest for me. If I had to pick, it's the less, it's the third of best of all 3 seasons, but I don't know how you guys feel that way about it. Like, I see it as like, as 3 separate seasons. Like they all have like their own thing, so to speak. They all have their good and their bad. And, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. I think they did great storytelling, character arcs. We know who Mando is. They already established him. So I think that gave them the opportunity to kind of dial back on him, let him be kind of a secondary character and focus on other people. So what are you guys' thoughts about that? If you had to rank seasons by the, seasons.
I wouldn't rank it. I mean, when we think about, what was it? The episode, The Sin, from like season 1, episode 3, where Mando's trying to escape with Grogu. And, all of a sudden, all the bounty hunters are trying to get him.
Yeah.
And then I remember watching that episode. I woke up early in the morning and I'm watching it. And then all of a sudden, that first shot from Mando's are fired. And then all the Mandalorians are on their jetpack coming up. And I started yelling for Mandalore. And my kids are like, Dad, what do you want? I'm like, don't take this from me.
There it is, called right there.
And
you called it season 3. I was very impressed with that, by the way.
And it's just that was my favorite episode. And it still is today.
Yeah, this I remember this. Oh man, I remember this episode. I sometimes go back and watch these ones because these are just such good episodes. Just these older ones, I love it.
And like how cool, got to see whistling birds for the first time.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And, saw a remnant stormtrooper get burned alive.
Yeah, that was good.
But Connor,
it was a lot of first.
Yeah. But like Connor, what do you think about that in terms of like the seasons? Like if you had to choose like your best season, you rank all 3. What do you think?
I mean, I would put season 1 first just because, it was a new show. A lot of us didn't know what to think. And like you said, you got to give credit to season 1 for establishing a powerhouse in Star Wars, right? And I think Disney was very smart introducing a character like Grogu because it's a character that is widely recognized by adults and children, and it got a lot of people interested in this character and then wanting to know more about him, where he's from, who he is, So I think season 1's always going to hold my heart because of that. And obviously it's a great season. One of my personal favorite episodes from the first season was in Navarro when they're pinned down, and that moment where Mando had to break his stigma of not trusting droids because he was in a really tough spot, right? And they're getting sprayed by an E-web and they're pinned down, and then the incinerator troopers burning them out. Like, that whole scene was incredible. It reminded me of the old Westerns I used to watch with my grandfather. And that's part of the reason why season 1 was so special to me. It had that Western feel, and it really established that style for the character. But overall, my favorite episode always will be untopped ever is with Luke, dude. Like, it's been a long time since a show has made me tear up. And like, I said this many times. I was on vacation at 3 a.m. with my phone in my hand. I'm just bawling my eyes out, dude, because that character is so important to many of us. And to see him come back in such a grand fashion, to see all of our favorite characters from The Mandalorian truly in a tough spot, right? Like, there was, in my opinion, there was no chance they were getting out of there, right? And to see the hero that we all grew up to know and love, and it's one of our favorite characters, to see him come and save all of them and make such slight work of the Dark Troopers like it was nothing. And then the score that played in the background while he was just going through the hallways, like the emotion that brought to me, just everything. It was perfect. You guys know those tier videos. I don't know if you guys have seen it where he's like, it's perfect. It's just perfect. Like but that for me is like the perfect episode, the perfect moment. That's why every time we talk about the Mandalorian Luke figure, I'm like, there is no universe where I would pass on that figure, because for me, I will always have a special place in my heart for the episode. The crappy CGI aside, like, man, what an episode. What a great decision from them to give us a taste of Luke in The Mandalorian, because we were all speculating, right? For the longest time, we're like, when's Luke coming back? We got to see Luke. And we got to see Luke very much in a prime state here, just tearing through the dark troopers that everybody else was running and hiding from, So for me, in terms of favorite episodes, like, this one's never going to be topped.
I was going to say, Peyton, also the Boba Fett return was actually a pretty, like, you forget about that. Like the Boba Fett return episode, that was also like
close second, man.
That was
Very
up.
close.
That's easily probably like a top 3 at this moment. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And then we got let down with his own show, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it's interesting. And then probably the final question, where do you guys, because were you disappointed with how it actually ended? Meaning, in my opinion, I mean, obviously they're saying, season 4 is written, but in theory, if we never see Mando again on a TV show, you could arguably say they closed out 3 seasons the way it was closed out. They closed out in a way where if they didn't want to do season 4, they could just leave it there. But were you guys kind of happy with that, or do you think that was intentional the way they did that to kind of give themselves an out just in case? Because this season was written a long time ago and done it wasn't like they did it a few months ago. So do you think that they kind of did it intentionally just in case, not knowing the future of where Mando lies, obviously with other projects and how things have kind of, the fan didn't really like Obi-Wan and Andor? Do you think that was kind of done intentionally, or do you think they did it to kind of give themselves an out just in case?
I think, well, season 4 is scheduled to come out on fall 2024 or early the first quarter of 2025. So there's a 6-month window there when it's coming out, but they're starting working on it already. Is from what's being said out there. I could be wrong if they've started now, but I don't think they closed it out, just because to me it's more of an opening than anything. Like with that whole Looney Tunes circle that they did. I mean, I'm not coining that, saying that that's my thing. I've seen so many other people mention that.
Yeah.
But it kind of, to me, it just seems like they've opened it up so much now, because you can't go and say he's no longer a foundling. Now he's an apprentice, and his trade is bounty hunting. Now we need to go see Grogu, eventually go get a lightsaber and go really mess up some stuff.
Yeah.
Especially since we know they're going to go after Imperials for the Republic.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. We finally got to see Din and Grogu working as a team in a fashion to where you're like, okay, I could see them being a true team when it comes to bounty hunting. Like, and Grogu's he's not passing out anymore when he uses the Force. Like, he's starting to learn, he's starting to come into his own, and we finally saw a point where he was really like on his own, and it was a make or break situation. And I think that was very important for the character, right? I mean, with the Praetorian Guards, where he's just running around just screwing with them, and he held his own in that fight, and then you get to see him working together. He's pulling the shock baton away from the Praetorian Guards.
Yeah, pulling them away and stuff like that, and giving Mando.
So that's a good point, Sean. I think it's cool that they brought him back to his roots, and it's gonna be really cool to see Grogu kind of improving, and maybe Grogu eventually. I know it's a meme. It has been for a while, but maybe we'll see Grogu in some armor, man. I know he's got the plate right now, but eventually he's got to ditch those robes, right, and get something different. I think that's going to happen eventually. But yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm pretty happy with what they're doing with Grogu thus far. Obviously, there's still a lot of mystery behind the character, but it was cool this season. And obviously, he's always cute. There's always cute moments of him doing backflips and stuff. But It was cool, man. And the IG-12 thing, that's another thing. That was super cool to me. And then
Or
after all that, you're like,
Hot Toys repaint.
I know, man. And then after all that, we get IG-11 back at the very end. So I'm like, it doesn't get better than that. It really doesn't. So
Yeah.
So season 3 brings up a couple important topics too. One, justice for Axe Wolves. He needs a head sculpt.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
And his armor changed a little bit too, so it's possible.
Yeah. And then on top of that, Casca Reeves did an incredible job with her fighting skills and everything else, to include her flight. And to see an actual Mandalorian air assault happen,
yeah, that was dope.
That was fantastic. See all those troops just drop.
And the armor side by side with Bo-Katan, and then she pulls out the lights, the dark saber, and just points it out. Like, oh man, it was awesome. That was a great moment.
I mean, but the armor. Come on, you got to get at least one blaster.
I know, she's so archaic, so uncivilized.
Yeah, right. So that being said, I think we talked enough about it where we can kind of wrap it up. We're hitting that hour and 25-minute mark, right where I wanted to be. So what I wanted to do real fast is kind of give you guys like a couple. I'll take the spoiler warning off there. I wanted to do a couple channel updates and kind of wrap it up, talk about what's going on with me, and then obviously Sean and Connor. Real fast, like I said, I really appreciate everybody. I got this. I always put up my little thank you to everybody out there. This channel, I really appreciate the support. Obviously, Connor, Sean, you guys have been a tremendous support to me. I really appreciate both you gentlemen for taking the time out of your Sunday just to kind of talk just for like an hour and a half. You guys didn't have to come on, but I do really thank you both for, gracing me with your presence and those in the chat. And also thank you to everybody who is in the chat as well. Like I said, keeping them to about an hour and a half as I start to get more involved and a little more getting my bearings a little stretched out, be a little more. But we're keeping about an hour and a half right now when there's more news and stuff like that to talk about. And also getting the foundation of the stream down. This is just what the reality is of starting a stream up. I'm not going to hide it. This is what the reality is of finding out the content and navigating and figuring stuff out. So for those like Peyton, Insane One, thank you so much. Those who have been watching, hoping everything just grows over time. Next week is pretty important for me. I got 2 streams going on next week, but Thursday, I'll bring it up so you guys can just double check. But Thursday, I do have a special stream going on my channel. If you guys are interested, it is Thursday at 12 o'clock p.m. I actually have a kind of like it's kind of like an interview, but a conversation with Carl Newman. And if you are a Batman 1989 fan like I am, Carl Newman actually was hired for 11 weeks. He was on production of Batman, and he actually was a movement double for Michael Keaton. And people are like, what does that mean? He wasn't a stuntman. They hired 2 stuntmen for the movie. Plus, they hired Michael Keaton and Carl Newman. And what he did was he was in all of the scenes that actually showed Batman moving. So, for example, this scene that you see right here of the wings opening was actually this guy. It wasn't Michael Keaton. The opening scene of him hovering down with his wings open on the rooftop, it was this guy. Standing on top of Access Chemicals, it was this guy. Getting in and out of the Batmobile, it was this guy. There's so many scenes, even on the church scene, opening the doors, walking through the cathedral, it was this guy. And I've met him on Instagram. He is such a fantastic gentleman who's willing to talk about his story and just talk about it. And we're actually going to do a scene-by-scene breakdown, talk about his career, how he got into Batman, and he's willing to do a scene-by-scene breakdown of all the scenes that he was in and the production behind them, the Batsuit, stories with Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton. So that's something that's going to be happening Thursday at 12 p.m., which is different. So if anyone's interested, you can catch it on the replay. But that's something, if you're a Batman fan, I think that'd be really cool to talk about, because he's going to be in a lot more scenes than people think he was in. And there's actually screen grabs where it's him. You can tell by his face, he's like in the movie. They didn't do any justice in trying to hide it. It was him. So that being said, that's what I have going on. Connor, I know you got the giveaway ending on Tuesday. I'm actually going to drop the link in there, but let me know what's going on. Let everyone know what's going on in your channel right now while I'm going to drop that link for your giveaway.
Well, Ryan, first I want to say thank you so much for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure. And guys, definitely go out and support this live stream with this gentleman here, because it's great to see different stuff, you know. And it's unfortunate that I'll be working at the time. I gave Ryan a lot of crap just messing with him.
I
but
tried to get you in on it, dude.
yeah, I really wanted to be there because you guys know I'm a big '89 Batman fan, and I actually don't know much about this gentleman, so I was really excited to kind of learn. But you know, I'll catch it on the replay. But in terms of what I got going on, Ryan, you know, I'm always planning stuff. I haven't put up a video on my channel, I think going on 2 weeks in terms of like a main video. I got a lot of shorts planned. I got a huge mound of unopened Hot Toys that I have to film shorts and maybe some regular videos on. But also, guys, kind of a perfect segue stream for what we talked about tonight. On Tuesday, we're going to talk about some predictions for the Mandalorian Season 3 Hot Toys announcement. So that's going to be really fun. I can't wait to speculate. After the last 2 episodes, especially, I'm like, dude, I need that as a figure. 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 So I'm like, we got to talk about it. So a perfect way to segue from this stream, talking about our thoughts on the show. We're going to talk about on Tuesday what figures we would love to see from the Mandalorian Season 3. But apart from that, as you guys always know, we do streams on both Tuesdays and Thursdays. You could see these fine gentlemen there. So love to see you guys there as always and have fun with you guys. And I want to say for Ryan and myself and Sean, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. It was a great stream, something different. It was awesome to talk about Mandalorian in a live format because I haven't talked about the 3rd season much yet in a live stream format. So definitely really cool. And once again, thank you so much for having me, Ryan. It was great.
And just so you guys know, I have it highlighted there, the giveaway link for what Sean's doing. You know, when he graciously is donating a figure, I have a gift card. And so the link is right there. I put it in. Click on that link. It'll show you what you need to do, where to go, what the rules are. Because like I said, the cutoff is Tuesday midnight. Is that correct?
Yep,
Tuesday midnight. The cutoff is there. And like I said, make sure subscribe to Hot Toys Hotline and Collecting Madness. Wow, Chris, he's in my head. Sean from the Hot Toys Nightmare. He's graciously giving away a heavy Mando. Fantastic deed there. Sean, what do you have going on? Let us know.
All right, everyone. So what I have going on, and first, thank you for having me on tonight.
Of course.
The giveaway for the heavy Mando is on the Hot Toys Hotline channel, so it's not on my channel. So if you're going to mine, I don't want any confusion there on that. So you have to go to Connor's channel, the Hot Toys Hotline, also known as Dirty Dishes on Instagram and Reddit.
We almost made it a whole
special
stream.
Places there.
I didn't tell Sean
it has to be mentioned once.
I didn't tell Sean to say that, by the way.
No, he didn't. Not this time.
Oh, I believe it.
So,
Sean's just a loose cannon.
But I am getting closer to getting finished with reorganizing everything here. So I have to put 6 more glass doors on. You can see there's a table behind me with stuff that's kind of looks all cluttered up. That's stuff that's going to actually be going behind some of my items that are in the displays. And so I have to go through, clean them off before I get them in the white cabinets. And so there'll be background areas and pieces throughout. I've done 5 shorts this weekend. So there's one for Batman versus Superman and Suicide Squad, my collection. There's also another one for Justice League. One for Batman Beyond, the individual figure. One from the Batman XE suit from Arkham Origins. And then I also today did one from the Dark Knight for my collection.
Promise me you do a new collection tour video when you get your stuff all together.
No, I am. So once, that's what I'm going to be working on.
I remember when I was doing my display case, I think you were going back, you were like, you should do white instead of black. Although I like the black look for mine, the white just looks like it is super clean. Like, I don't think you go either wrong with black or white, but the white is just, I haven't seen anybody do all white like that looks so clean. So bravo for that, for pulling that off.
Thank you.
Looks gorgeous.
So I actually got the idea when I was first collecting years and years and years ago. There was only one individual who I ever saw that had anything, and it was Besta from IKEA that was white. Nobody else was using white. Everybody was using
Black,
either the wood or the black. No one was using white, and he was putting his statues, his premium format statues from Sideshow in white. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. Oh, it looks gorgeous. Absolutely. So, but that's going to be it. I hit my mark, hour and a half. It's kind of where I wanted to be. I know Connor's on the timer, so I told him hour and a half. Three, about to be 4 minutes over, so it's all right. But
well, you started 2 minutes late, so it's okay.
That is true. So if you do a little bit of math there, I kind of broke it.
So I'm never coming back again.
As always, guys, thank you so much. Next Sunday, 8:15 again. We'll do another stream. We'll have some news to talk about, some topics as always, have some different people on. Willing to talk with everybody, anybody who wants to. So feel free to hit me up and figure something out. Everyone, have a great rest of your Sunday. What's left of it, hitting 10 o'clock here, Eastern Standard Time. But I wish everyone a happy good night, and we'll see you guys this week. Take care, everybody.
Take care, guys.
Make good choices. It's your collection.
Purposely waited for that one to hit the end button.